Klyntar is the featured location in Marvel Snap for the next 48 hours. And in this video, we're talking about some of the best cards and strategies that you could use to help you dominate this location, climb up those rankings. And if you're ready for all of that, you know what to do. Find that like button and let's go snap it.
ValleyFlyin.
Hello, Marvel Snap fans. Welcome back to the Valley Snap channel. I am ValleyFlyin. I hope you're having a great day. In this video, we're talking about the new featured location, Klyntar, and some of the cards and strategies that you could use to dominate your opponents while this featured location is going on in Marvel Snap. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button for more great Marvel Snap content. At least 5 Marvel Snap videos per week on this channel. Usually there's going to be a lot more. And if you've already subscribed, welcome back. Thank you. Let's go right into these new featured locations and talk about some of the ways that you could deal with this. So the location Klyntar, after turn 4, it's going to merge all of the cards that you have at that location. It's going to merge into one card, into one symbiote. So you're going to take all the power of that cards that you have at Klyntar, and it's going to merge into one card. Now the downside of that card is that it's only a 1-cost card, so it can be countered very easily. But if you just want to play what you want and include maybe 1 or 2 cards in your deck, you can easily counter this Klyntar location with 2 cards, Scarlet Witch and Storm. Very common way to counter a lot of these locations. So if you include one of these cards in your deck, hopefully it pops into your hand and you can just play the deck that you want. And because it's a 1-cost card, like I said, countered very easily by cards like Elektra, who is going to destroy enemy 1-cost cards. So on turn 5, as soon as that symbiote is made, you play Elektra, assuming that you have that tempo. You can destroy that card very easily. If your opponent has a tempo, then it may get a little more tricky because they could use a card like Armor to protect that card, or some other cards that we're going to talk about. But Elektra, Killmonger on the subsequent turn could destroy that card, assuming that your opponent doesn't protect it. Now, the Silver Surfer decks, they're very, very popular right now. And one way that you can kind of counter this, but it's not as reliable, is with a card like Kingpin. Because when a card moves to that location that you have Kingpin in on turn 6, well, it's going to destroy it. So you play this on one of the other locations, and you follow it up with a card like Polaris. Now, this is going to be very random. It's going to move an opposing 1 or 2-cost card to this location. So it may pull a different card, but hopefully your opponent has forgotten about Kingpin and Polaris, and that's the only card that they have, and that symbiote will be drawn over the Kingpin on that final turn, and Kingpin can destroy it. Another way to use Klyntar is just clearing up some board space. So playing these early cards that you're mainly wanting the abilities, not really concerned with the power, and you can use Klyntar to clear up your board. Cards like Agent 13, which is going to give you a random card in your hand, be very good and takes up a lot of space. Only 2 power. Same thing with ICEMAN. Major disruption to your opponents, especially if it's on their big card that they want to play, giving it a +1 cost. And yes, then you get rid of that, so you not have to worry about that board space. Another card that can take up a lot of board space and maybe you don't have a way to destroy it, well, Nova can help you if Klyntar pops up. So when it's destroyed, all the other cards that you have on your board will gain 1 power. So you can guarantee that this will be destroyed on turn 4. So that is another good play for Klyntar. Another good one is a major disruption you could do to your opponent's deck with Scorpion. It's gonna negatively impact all the cards in their hand, reducing their power by 1. So you could play these cards early on and not worrying about it cluttering up your board. And another card that takes up a lot of space is Brood. Basically, you play 1 card, 3 cards go to that location, assuming that you have space on your board. Now, in a lot of cases, this will just clutter up your board, assuming you're not playing a Silver Surfer deck where all these additional 3-cost cards on your board will actually benefit you. If you just want to get all that power on your board for the 3 costs and then consolidate it, the Klyntar will actually help you with this. So Brood is one of the ways that you get a lot of power on that board and get some tempo in one of these early turns. And there's a couple cards that give you a lot of power for very, very low cost, but with the downside of having these ongoing effects that you may not want. One of them is Ebony Maw. If you play this not on turn 1 or 2, but play this on turn 3, then you can get 7 power in your board. for 1 cost, and assuming that you've already placed some power on that board, it could give you some major value in that symbiote. Another one is Typhoid Mary. 4 cost, 10 power, very, very good, but with the downside of your other cards having -1 power. Once Typhoid Mary is destroyed, well, you're going to get that power in the symbiote, and then you're not going to have this negative ongoing effect. Now, another card that you may want to get rid of that ongoing effect is Electro. Has an awesome on-reveal ability, giving you 1 max energy every single turn after you pull out Electro. Perfect in these ramp decks that are starting to gain popularity, one of which is helping me climb up these ranks that I should have a video out later today on. But the ongoing effect, the downside of Electro is that every single turn you can only play 1 card. Well, if you play this on Klyntar, it is going to be destroyed, turning into a symbiote, and that ongoing effect is gone, but you still keep that on-reveal effect. Similar to Mr. Negative, has that awesome on-reveal ability of swapping your power and cost of all the cards that are still in your deck, but you're getting rid of that -1 on your board. And finally, let's talk about Leech. Now, Leech doesn't have a downside of a bad ongoing ability, but it does have a high cost and a very low power. So you may want to use this in Klyntar. The big thing is it has 5 costs. So you need to pair this with a card like Electro or Psylocke before turn 4, and you can play this on turn 4 and removing all the abilities from all the cards in your opponent's hand. So you can really debilitate them without that downside of this card taking up space on your board. Now, that symbiote that's created, it is a 1 cost card, giving you those counter options that we talked about earlier, but it is also a card with no abilities. So if you're running a Patriot deck, well, that card will also gain +2 power in addition to whatever it destroyed. So Patriot decks, Klyntar work very well together. So if you're actually looking to build up Klyntar for your own benefit and you want a strong built-up symbiote, well, it is very vulnerable to those counters that we talked about in Electra and Killmonger, so you would need to protect it. The most obvious protection method is armor, because once you play armor, the cards at that location cannot be destroyed. So you would need to play this on turn 5, and hopefully you have the tempo that they can't come back right on their turn 5 and destroy it with the Electra of Killmonger of their own. So armor is a great protection method. Don't play this before that on Klyntar, because it'll just get destroyed and turn into that symbiote. Another card that you could use on turn 5 once that symbiote is created is Beast, because it's going to return all your cards at this location, and they're going to cost 1 less. So you could protect it from Electra or a Killmonger. Another card that you could use to protect that symbiote and return it to your hand is Falcon. Now, the difference between Beast and Falcon, Beast, you need to play it at that location. Falcon, you can play it at any location, because Symbiote is going to be a 1 cost card. So you could play Falcon at any location, and all your 1 cost cards are going to be returned to your hand, and you could use them. You could use that to protect it, and you could throw it back onto your opponent at turn 6. So those are some ways that you can use Klyntar to your benefit, but there is a big no-no in Klyntar, and that is this card, Devil Dinosaur. Do not play this card in Klyntar. Now, to play this card in Klyntar, you would need to set it up. You would need to have a card like Electro or Psylocke just able to ramp Devil Dinosaur, so you could play this card on turn 4. But it's not going to have its ongoing abilities. So basically, that symbiote is going to get 3 power. Doesn't matter all the cards that you have in your hand. Doesn't matter what is showing in Devil Dinosaur. It's only going to be 3 added to that symbiote. So don't play Devil Dinosaur in Klyntar. So in my opinion, those are the best cards and strategies that you use to help use Klyntar to your benefit. Now, in my opinion, this is not a location that I think you need to build an entire deck around like you had to do with Lamentus, the last week's featured location. I think you could just include a few of these cards here, use a few of these strategies in decks you're already using, and then if you see Klyntar pop up, then you are covered. That is it though, guys. Hopefully later today we'll get that ramp deck that I've been using so effectively, and just a hint, it does feature Leech here. So hopefully I'll see you guys later. If you haven't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. If you want to support the channel, check out some of the sponsors down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Hulk fist bump. ValleyFlyin out. Have a great day, guys.